First off, let me apologise for my rather croaky throat. I hope it doesn't spoil your enjoyment of the video too much. I was recently contacted by a member of my website who asked, is there a way to turn an image of a door into a black and white photo using On1 Photo Raw and then apply a mask to remove the black and white effect from the door? Now that's fairly simple, and I'm going to demonstrate that using the new On1 artificial intelligence masking feature that came in very recently. The other thing that they wanted to do though was to recolour the door and change the colour of the door, and that was proving very difficult. Let's have a look, and first off we're going to apply a black and white conversion effect to this image. So I'm going to apply something that's quite strong. I think I'll probably go for the Ingrid Warm, and that applies quite a dramatic effect to the image. And the next thing I need to do is create a mask to hide the effect from the doorway. So I'm going to add a mask, and now if I come up to the top here for the masking tools, I've got this new AI feature here. It stands for artificial intelligence. The idea with the artificial intelligence mask is that you can draw around roughly the area that you want to keep or remove the adjustment from, and that On1 will actually work out what the right mask is. So this sounds great in theory, but how does it work in practice? Well, let's take a look. So the first thing I'm going to do is select whether I want to keep or remove the adjustment. So I'm going to actually drop the adjustment, and I'm just going to resize my brush. And now I'm going to drop it from this area here, around here, over here to there, and I'm going to keep it in all the other areas around here. So if this works, what it should do is create me a mask that will keep all the adjustments, the black and white conversion on the outside, but the door and the doorway will actually be coloured. So let's see what happens when we hit apply. And actually it makes a reasonable job of actually creating the adjustment there. I don't think this is real artificial intelligence. If it was, I would expect this to start to learn and improve each time I use it. It doesn't seem to do that. But having said that, it does give me a good initial stab at this. So let's actually work out how we can improve it. Well, I'd actually like to keep that part of the mask there, there, and there. And if I zoom in, there's some of the mask that I want to keep there and there. So we'll just move up there. So we'll just roughly draw that. And down here, I don't want to keep that area, so we'll go back to drop, and we'll drop the mask around here. And now let's apply that and see what happens. Okay, so now it's actually gone a little bit too far, so I need to now keep some of this. And we'll apply that. And that's actually given me a little bit of a better result. So let's just go back to fit the screen. It doesn't look too bad now, but the problem I'm finding with this is that it's just not really good enough in terms of the initial adjustment, and you end up spending quite a lot of time refining it. So let's say now we've done that, and we'll apply it, and it's made a reasonable stab at it. So let's zoom in on the area, and actually I was expecting it to have spilled over more than it has, and it does look actually quite convincing in terms of what we were trying to achieve. Now there are some other tools that once you've applied your artificial intelligence mask you can use to refine them. So here I've got a refine tool, and I can actually paint the mask out or paint it in. So over here I can actually see areas where it's just spilled over. And now I can actually adjust it. But again, as I was adjusting it, I'm not sure if you saw that, it's not really made a very clean adjustment. What I would suggest is, if you've got the latest version, do experiment and use it, because it's actually quite good at making rough selections that you can then clean up afterwards. So let's say that we're happy with that. I'll zoom out and just have a look. So that's good. And we'll just look at the mask it's created. So you can see there some areas that have spilled over, but to be honest, with this particular image, I don't think it matters. Let's now look at how we recolour the door, because this is something that's a bit tricky to do. Now, there are some filters that you can add which would allow you to actually attack the blue of the image and adjust its hue. So we could, for example, pick the blue here, and actually we'll use the sky, and we could adjust the hue of the blue there just to change it, but it doesn't really allow me to recolour the image and change the blue completely. So here's another option we can use. If you go over to the local adjustments, and what we've got here is this paint with colour. So I can actually pick a colour. I'm going to pick red to start with, and we'll go for something quite noticeable. And now, using this paintbrush, I'll just resize this. I'm going to paint over the door. Now, as I'm painting, what you can see is that I've painted this area here that's red. The area that's grey is the area that's affected by the mask, that you can see there. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little cogged gear here. Now, at the moment, my mode is being applied to as normal. I can actually change this to a colour mode here, and it's now blended it in more cleanly with the image. Now, at the moment, it doesn't look very convincing because it's spilled over up here and it's spilled over to other areas of the door that we don't want it to. What we want to do is change the blue colour of the door. So what I can do is I can actually sample where I'm going to apply it from. So if I click there, what we've got there is the blue of the door, and now I've sampled that, and all the blue that's in that colour range is now being converted to red. It's being painted over, and I can actually control that using this range tool here. So now we're turning all the blue that's not black and white red, and you have got the ability then to change the colour to other colours just by picking it on your colour wheel. Now, that's all very vibrant and colourful, but what you can do is use replace colour, and that will tend to tone it down. And as well as that, you've got your opacity adjustment, and you can actually make something that then looks quite realistic. I'll just set the exposure back to how it was, and you've then got as well your tint and temperature adjustments that you could apply potentially to change this further. So overall, that's how you can actually change the colour, and it's made a reasonable job of that. If I go back, we can turn off our black and white adjustment there. You can see the other areas of the image. This is our black and white adjustment with the mask, and we've recoloured our door. So Mike, I hope this is exactly what you need. I hope it helps you. If there's anyone else out there who's got a question on how to do things like this, I'm always glad to hear of them. I might not always be able to help, but when I can, I like to do a quick video or respond with some useful suggestions. I'm Robin Whalley. You've been watching Lenscraft. I'll see you next time for another video.